Okay, so I've been following Stefan Molyneux and Freedom Main Radio for some time now, and his latest video, Syrian refugee machete attack in Germany, which is about exactly what the title says. The most recent among many attacks, now really calling into question this web of mass movement going on between Western and Middle Eastern cultures. Maybe it's time to give it a rest for a while. This and the attacks on the American East Coast, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota. Minnesota's Midwest, but in Orlando, San Bernardino, before. I've even myself got a couple videos on that, covering several political issues and my viewpoints on them. Not to mention the messes that our own American government has made in Iraq, Syria, and Libya, and so on. Europe's mass unrestricted immigration, all the while people still pretending that our cultures can coexist as they are now. It's really turning out that they can't. Completely different ideologies, completely different standards, expectations, and values. It's not working. So later, I happened to catch the story of Alicia Galley, an Australian who was a manager of spa and beauty for a Starwood hotel in Dubai. She traveled there in 2008, and 3 months after she began her job, was drugged and raped in that very hotel by 3 Muslim men who were hotel employees. When she went to the hotel, and later the police for help, she herself was arrested for having had a drink earlier that night. And what it turns out in that country, if you can believe this, and if you don't believe it yet, I'll put a link to the very video in the description, as well as Molyneux's videos. I highly recommend you check those out. They're very good. Not about this event directly with Alicia, although maybe he has a video somewhere on that. Get this. In Dubai and other Islamic countries, being raped is the same as having had consensual sex outside of marriage. Mull that over. She was arrested for having had a drink and for having had sex outside of marriage because she was raped. And feminists crack down on Western culture? There's more to the story. It gets worse. However, for now, let's talk about this. As of 2013, Dubai was determined to be the 7th most visited city in the world. A common stopping point for Australians traveling to Europe, and a common destination point uh, tourist attraction. Tourism is a major source of foreign cash flow for the emirate. It is known as the shopping capital of the Middle East. Dubai recently won the vote to hold the Expo 2020, with the theme of Connecting Minds, Connecting the Future, to share a vision of progress and economic growth, public affairs, environmental progress, by working collaboratively. I'm assuming this means with world cultures. Pardon me for having observed this, but Middle Eastern cultures don't seem to be doing a great job of working collaboratively, let alone tolerantly with non-Muslim cultures. Dubai portrays itself as that. But let's take a look at what the culture is really like, and what tourists, I'll tend to you in a bit, kitty, can find themselves arrested for. I have, in front of me, a list of what travel news warns people traveling to, visiting, or even passing through Dubai not to do. Let's take a look. Okay, I will also add in a link to this article. Okay, travel news. Here's a list of what not to do in Dubai. Point by point. Drinking. Drinking or being drunk in public is not tolerated, and the legal drinking age is 21. You should only drink in a hotel. Conceptually, I can sort of understand not being drunk in public. A law against drunk driving, of course, Western cultures have, and with good reason. Legal drinking age is 21. I'm not entirely sure what the basis for 21 is, why that age specifically, but yeah, that's okay. You should only drink in a hotel. Well, people drink publicly in a lot of places, but... Alright, that's far, far from the worst on this list. We're only going to go downhill. So that first one, well, suspicious, but okay. Next point. Public displays of affection. Holding hands, kissing, or gets cozy with your other half could lead to arrest and imprisonment. Now this mostly refers to not married couples. I don't exactly know how well married couples fare in public, but not married couples means boyfriend, girlfriend, who boyfriends and girlfriends show little displays of affection all the time in public. And in this country, leads to arrest and imprisonment. A crime to show simple displays of human affection. And really, don't use the, well, get a room or go into the hotel excuse with me. I mean, these are holding hands, kissing, a peck on the cheek lands you in jail. I'm sorry, but I think I have a problem with a culture that says simple little displays of human affection are illegal. That's not a mere cultural difference, that's ridiculous. Where would that have ever come from? Actually, I don't know if it even matters where it comes from. That's... Someone want to try to defend that? Sex outside marriage. Sex between those who are not married is illegal and can lead to severe criminal sanctions. Sex between those who are not married. Illegal. I don't care how much Western cultures look down upon it. We don't say it's illegal. We don't imprison people for it. And I'm afraid to find out what severe criminal sanctions means. How? I know it looks like I'm trying to think of how to address these points, like I had points and are forgetting them, but honestly, it's hard to say how to respond to this, and I've been trying to work on this for a while. You know, marriage in itself, among human cultures, among the human species, is designed for a couple. Biologically, usually this means a man and a woman. We will get to views on homosexuality later, not including these, because these are ridiculous by any standards. Marriage is not a statement between two people just to say we love each other. It is to commit to building a family. That is what marriage is for. Sex outside marriage, despite being, biologically a little risky, maybe you can say. Yeah, and arguments for that. I mean, it doesn't magically become less risky when two people get married, but marriage is a declaration of that commitment. So it's a commitment to say what does come of it, we will work out together. Sex outside marriage is really for experimenting with the relationship. Well, it's not specifically for, it's part of experimenting with a relationship. I don't see how making it illegal in any culture is helping anyone. Someone want to try to defend that one? Because let's see if you can. Homosexuality. And again, this is not going to be about my viewpoints or biological viewpoints. I mean, taking into account basic biology, even without my viewpoints. We're not addressing that in this video. In Dubai, homosexuality. Again, not the only country, not the only Muslim country that does this, by far. Homosexual acts are illegal and subject to severe punishment. Severe punishment like beheadings? You know, in the ancient world, homosexuality was actually very widespread. Um, it's gone through stages of being more and less tolerated, but I don't see another religion in this world that puts people to death for it. And they call people in America homophobes. I find that hard to defend in comparison to this. Swearing. Swearing and making rude gestures, such as the middle finger, are criminal acts in the United Arab Emirates. Again, I'm assuming criminal acts results in, at the very least, a lengthy imprisonment. No, months. If it's less than that, let me know, but swearing and making rude gestures. Well, they're rude. They're not crimes. Or shouldn't be. Unless they're part of a blatant threat, but even that's pretty rare. Usually it's just being rude. And people in most other world cultures would respond with mere shunning. Swimwear. Wearing bathers outside the beach is against Dubai's decent laws, and swimsuits in general should be modest. Nudity at beaches is illegal. Bathers, I'm assuming, means bathing suits. Must. Well, it's worded pretty moderately. So I don't know what the penalties are. I'll have to look at that. Smoking. Lighting up in a shopping mall, government building, or shop can result in a fine. Well, smoking is a personal choice. I myself don't like walking past a person who's smoking, but it's a personal choice. Among all this, fine is, a mere money fine is pretty tame compared to these others I'm seeing. Clothing. Women's clothing may be considered indecent if it is tight, transparent, above the knee, or shows her stomach, shoulders, or back. Men should wear t-shirts at all times, and short shorts can attract the wrong kind of attention. I haven't seen many people wear transparent clothing, if they really mean transparent. Transparent means entirely see-through. Partially see-through is translucent. May be considered indecent. Again, not specifying the penalties. I'm assuming they're not that tame, not just a fine. I'll have to do more detailed research on the penalties here. But I think these are pretty tamely worded. Men should wear t-shirts at all times. Well, it is a very hot country, except at night. In the desert, it actually can get quite cold at night. Shorts attract the wrong kind of attention. Are they still talking about men there? Maybe they can. Maybe it's considered suspicious of homosexual behavior. I don't know if that's the case. Then the penalties are not tame at all. Conversation. It is illegal to harass women. This includes unwanted conversation and prolonged stares or eye contact. Apparently not for the hotel workers who raped Alicia. Unless that's not considered harassment for Muslims. Oh, well, harassing their women. Or well, clearly it's not them harassing ours. I mean, clearly it's clearly they don't have a problem with harassing our women, Western culture, women, or from any other culture. Apparently, we're not supposed to do it, but they can rape women all they want, apparently. And the victims are taken to jail. This victim blaming that goes on all over the world, you know, I gotta say something about that. That's just going to be responsible for so many, for so much damage, for so much tragedy all over the world. Why do we do it? Why does any culture do it? This victim blaming, this victim imprisonment is just cowardice from any culture. And harass is used pretty vaguely here. Includes unwanted conversation and prolonged stares or eye contact. I wonder how they define unwanted. Prolonged stares or eye contact. Well, in many cultures, prolonged eye contact is... I have heard of several cultures where it's either rude or somewhat threatening, but this is pretty vague for people going into their culture. So it's a list of warnings of what not to do, and still, in a lot of cases, pretty unclear. Photos. You tend to find out the penalties a little too late. Taking photographs of people, particularly women, without permission is illegal and can lead to arrest or fines. This is something I've heard about in other cultures as well, so I just wonder what happens to the people who are arrested, because they're lucky to escape. The ones who do escape are lucky to have escaped. Ramadan. During Ramadan, it is illegal for non-Muslims to eat, drink, or smoke in public in front of Muslims between sunrise and sunset. So people who are not a part of and who don't observe the Islamic religion still have to take part in the Islamic customs, I don't know of any other religion that requires people outside of their religion, outside of their in-group, to follow its customs and its rules. What is it? Is it because it offends them? Why would what non-Muslims do offend Muslims? They're not Muslims. Christians, Jews, atheists, Buddhists, I don't need to name all the religions. There are so many real religions in the world. And the animistic religions. I actually like animistic religions, but another topic for another time. I'm an atheist. By the way. None of the other religions require outsiders to follow their customs, their traditions. Medicines. Many medications available over the counter or by prescription in Australia are illegal in the Dubai. The Dubai? Dubai is a city. Kind of weird to call it the Dubai. Are illegal. You know, I have my own resentment towards medicine, but one more topic for another time. Illegal. Medicine's illegal. I'll let you think about how many problems that could cause. Drugs. The United Arab Emirates laws on drugs are extremely strict and include the death penalty or life in jail. I'm assuming this means the possession of or dealing in drugs, that sort of thing. Although, yeah, they make medicines illegal too. Many of them. Death penalty or life in jail is indeed extremely strict. Judging by the how much success the war on drugs in America has had, I'm not sure this is helping anything either. In fact, I really don't think this is helping anyone. Okay. A string of British tourists have been jailed for offences such as a peck on the cheek, I mentioned that, being caught in a compromising position on the beach, and for engaging in sex outside marriage. taught about that as well. Compromising position on the beach, I'm assuming means some slightly sexual looking position on the beach. Hard to imagine how any activity on a beach can be misinterpreted. Okay, then there are a couple of examples on this page. People jailed for having even assumed to have had sex, even though it was later proved that it didn't take place. Jailed for a month for kissing in a restaurant. Jailed for kissing in public. Although one couple claimed they one was trying to give CPR to the other. Okay. That's the end of the list on this page. I'm assuming there are several others that have not been mentioned here, but it's where this page ends. Now, here's the thing. When you are traveling to another country, another culture, we are advised and expected to respect the traditions and customs of the foreign culture and try our best to not be offensive to people. Now, we all make slip-ups. None of us know everything. People moving from one country to another will, it is advisable to do your research, do what research you can on the culture you are traveling to or visiting or moving to. But no one can be expected to know 100% of what to do or what not to do, what to avoid. These are extremely strict and harsh punishments for some of the littlest things. The only two on this list that are even considered a crime in Western culture countries are, well, one would be drinking and driving. The other would be possession and dealing in drugs. But only in extreme cases where there are extreme consequences do we hand out life in prison. Let alone the death penalty. That one is extremely rare compared to this, compared to in Dubai, and these are countries that follow these rules. So, we are raised and trained and expected in the West whether you consider Australia in the West, it is still a Western style country, to respect and observe the expectations of other cultures. And yet, when they come to Western countries, and they violate our cultural expectations, when they harass people in the workplace, when they shoot up homosexual gathering places or sanctuaries, when they attack our churches, and our people, when they want to introduce this Sharia law into Europe and America and Australia. There is no outrage. There is no resistance. There is no statement. There is no ultimatum given to them that if you want to live in our countries, you have to learn and respect and observe our cultural rules, our cultural expectations. There's no backlash to their attacks on our way of life. And yet we are expected to be respectful and tolerant of theirs. This is not equality. This is not tolerance. This is tolerance of intolerance. What are we doing? For the vast majority of things on this list, apart from those two I talked about, the drinking and driving and drug trafficking, we don't put people in jail or execute them for these. Alicia only escaped from Dubai and returned home to Australia severely traumatized when she was released by the Dubai prison itself, after having spent 8 months in absolute horror after having just been raped. Personally, I'm surprised she was released at all. The hotel, the Starwood Hotels, which she worked for, did nothing to help her. Her travel agency did nothing to help her. They wouldn't even return her passport so that she could seek sanctuary in Australia, get help there. Get actually decent help there. Her own mother did nothing more than try to comfort her over the phone when she called home before her incarceration, because when she was taken to jail, there was no communication at all. She had no communication for those 8 months in a filthy cell after having just been violently, well, rape is always violent, violently drugged and then raped. And her mother during all this time said, there was nothing she could do in those 8 months. Okay. I'm going to tell you what you do if your child or loved one finds themselves in a similar position, if they travel to, work in, or visit in one of these countries, and are able to call home after having been assaulted or raped, or even merely terrified, and are able to call you and ask for help. Because what it looks like is that they are not going to be getting help there. In fact, they probably shouldn't even try if this is what happens. When this is what happens. I mean, of course, of course this happens. I shouldn't say if, but you've got them in contact. What you do is, you say, don't go anywhere. Do not seek help. Do not go to the police. Do not go to the hospital. I know that that's dangerous, but it is even more dangerous to try to seek help where you are. I am coming. Whatever it takes to come and get you, I am coming and getting you, and I am bringing you back home, and we will get you the help you need here. You do whatever it takes to get to them. Get in, get out, and help them when you are safe and at home. That's what her mother should have done. Or if she was truly incapable of doing so, asked for all the help from her friends, her family, that she could to get it done. That's what you do. So, let me know what you want to talk about next. I have to tell you with, there is something else we should mention. Why was there no help given? Well, why did she find herself in prison? Well, and not just her, this is not one isolated case. But the video that I have a link to is a very good depiction of what happens when someone expecting these countries to be the paradise that they pretend to be the tolerant paradise that they pretend to be, and still many people in the West pretend them to be. So what happens when someone finds themselves in need of help? According to Sharia law, which rules Dubai, for there to be a conviction of rape, a woman must have 4 adult male eyewitnesses to the rape itself, who not only can, but will testify that the sex was non-consensual, that it was forced. Okay. In a country with standards like those, And with the kind of laws that we just went over, tell me, how likely do you think that is? This is exactly why I said what you do is you get them out of there. You travel there, get in, get out, get home. As for the residents of these countries themselves who were born, raised in, and have to live with this kind of justice system, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Maybe the Middle East is just going to be a region of hell for a long, long time until it becomes so truly horrible that they're going to need another cultural renaissance. There was one long, long time ago, particularly under someone named Ibn al-Hazan, who stressed really the seeking of truth and tolerance in the world. It didn't last. It didn't last. And I don't know if or when it will happen again for them. It's sad, but our interventions don't seem to have helped anything at all. They've only led to power vacuums. The wars are far from over. Terrorism spreading. Sharia law is spreading. Do you really want this to spread? Where is the courage that we once had to stand against abhorrent justice systems like these?